Okay, what do you actually tell jokes about? I do the classics, you know, my period, the mall, skincare.
This is the trailer for the Canadian film I Used to Be Funny. It opens in theaters across Canada and the U.S. today. It follows the story of a young woman trying to return to the comedy stage as she struggles with overcoming PTSD. It's also the feature debut of director Ally Pankiw. Eli Glasner is here now with his Friday film review. So, Eli, where does this story of I Used to Be Funny start?
It starts with a very funny rising star in the stand-up comedy world, set right here in Toronto, has that veracity. You might recognize Rachel Sennett, wonderful presence on camera. Maybe you saw her in the movie Bottoms or Shiva Baby. And so she is playing, there she is, Sam. And Sam is working as a stand-up, but that doesn't exactly pay the bills. So this is her other job. She's been hired by that guy, the father played by Jason Jones, to be kind of a nanny, kind of an au pair. The father has a teenage daughter named Brooke. There she is. And Brooke's mother is unfortunately struggling with cancer. And so Sam is there to be a shoulder to cry on, to be there for support, sometimes just to pick her up. And maybe because she's a comedian, maybe just because she's sensitive and smart, but she clicks with Brooke, as you can see in this scene at the dinner table.
Oh, were you annoyed with how Twilight ended too? I'm also Team Jacob. I was like, what is going on?
You're Team No, I'm Edward.
You're Edward?
Yes.
Are you kidding me?
Are you kidding me?
Was he the one with the abs?
They both have abs. I mean, completely different kind of abs. Like Jacob, it's a warm, cuddly ab. You put it in a sleeping bag, you snuggle up, you get toasty. Edward, ice cold abs, cutting steel, killing people.
That is the before Sam. That is the Sam from before she suffered something that has deeply traumatized her. And the other half of the film, and it kind of bounces back and forth, is this Sam who is not effortlessly funny, who is not sparkling, who is barely leaving her house, not having a shower, really having trouble getting back to the person that she was. Now, she is surrounded by roommates who are also in the stand-up comedy scene, and they're trying to support her, and she is so angry at herself and at what happened, she doesn't even want their support. Take a look.
I'm not contributing anything to this friendship or to society or to anyone, so just stop being so nice to me.
Well, you could start paying full rent again.
Okay, well, I can't do that.
It's obviously cool. I was just...
That is Caleb Heron, very funny stand-up comedian himself. The other roommate is played by Sabrina Jalise. And so the director, Ally Pankiw, this is someone who knows the world of stand-up comedy very well. And I gotta say, Jacqueline, there are movies about comedy that don't get the act of stand-up right, but this has that kind of backstage grunginess and the humor and what these people are going for. It nails that aspect, but then what makes the story even more serious is as Sam is trying to rediscover that woman she was, Brooke goes missing, and so now this hole that she's trying to crawl out of gets even deeper.
So, Eli, it's set in the comedy world, and some of those lines there, I mean, it might have been a little dark, but there were still, I cracked a smile.
Yeah.
Is it a comedy?
I'd say it's a dramedy. Like, I think what the director has done is really smart because at its heart, this is a film and a story about humor, but also healing. Now, we had a chance, CBC News, to speak to the director, and she was telling us that her family has had personal experience with trauma and PTSD, and so that's something that she really want to explore, like the patience that is required for that kind of healing and how hard it can be, and even the frustration of friends waiting for the you used to be to come back. But I think the sugary coating on top of that is the comedy scene. It helps to have hilarious, amazing friends who love you dearly and want to help you come back. But the interesting engine of this film is that question of what happened to Sam? What happened in that house? What extinguished that flame of the person that she was? And as the movie moves on, we get closer and closer to this event that changed everything for her. Now, the director started writing this story about a decade ago when the Me Too movement was certainly a lot stronger and more part of the current conversation. You look around anywhere in the arts now, nothing is perfect, but it does feel in some ways like people are trying to move forward. And speaking to the director, she was talking to us about there's a lot of work that still wasn't done, and the fact is there are still a lot of people who are trying to recover, and underneath the laughs, I think that is part of the message of the film. Take a look.
We suffer a great loss in our society and culturally when we lose the joyous and like comedic voices of young women, and so many of them have been lost like very quietly and like behind closed doors to violence like this.
I think it's a really interesting balancing act because it is tough to get people to watch a film that's really trying to wrap its hands around what does it feel like to be a woman who has endured trauma and abuse, especially a woman who lives in public, who can see what people are saying about her in the comments, but by also setting it in the comedy world, that gives us, I think, an easier way into this. I gotta say, Rachel Sennett, someone who I've always enjoyed, she has a really interesting on-screen quality, but she shows us new sides here as an actor that I was very impressed with, as I am by the director. A really interesting first feature. 4 stars out of 5 for I Used to Be Funny.
Okay, Eli, yeah, it sounds like it's got a lot of layers and an interesting one for sure. Thanks so much.
My pleasure.
That's CBC senior entertainment reporter Eli Glasner.